Hello mate, welcome back to the Elliott Lake Football Channel. Today we're going to be discussing England's World Cup draw. Are we going to get out of this group? We've got the USA, we've got Iran, we've got the potential European qualifier. So it's interesting to look at. I want to know what time we're going to be playing the games. A little bit of the logistics behind our potential run to the final, which is something I'm certainly interested in. If you are as well, please press the subscribe button down below and give this video a like. That would be fantastic. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far, especially Parikshit Kadawada, my first random subscriber who I don't know. So thank you so much, mate. I appreciate it loads. And if you enjoyed this video, click the like button as well. Let's get cracking. So England will play on the first day of the tournament before Qatar have even kicked a ball. There's going to be 4 games on the first day. Netherlands going to play first at 1 o'clock. Then England will play at 4 o'clock and Qatar then at 7 o'clock. And I, for one, cannot understand why a country who wants to exert an abundance of soft power through hosting a worldwide tournament is not playing the first game. Surely they want the eyes of the world on them. If I'm a neutral football fan, right, and there's 2 games already being played that day, Netherlands and England, I'm not going to watch Qatar against Ecuador in the 3rd game. Absolutely not. And I'm certainly not going to watch the pre-time show. Who am I kidding? I'll probably watch it. Ecuador versus Qatar at 7 o'clock on Monday the 21st of November. I'll be there watching it 100%. I'll probably watch all 90 minutes. It is important to say that this information has come from the FIFA Instagram account, which is a very, very trustworthy source. You know, we should take every word that FIFA say as gospel. So Iran first up, and let's be honest, we should beat these fairly comfortably. They have qualified for the last 2 World Cups, but that doesn't mean that they should face any tough opposition for England whatsoever. They've got 2 players which I have heard of. Saman Ghoddos, who plays for Brentford, you may remember he's made a few appearances this season, and then Brighton's former player Alireza Jahanbakhsh. I don't know really how you say that. I think that's probably the best effort I'm going to do. But those 2 maybe will cause a few problems. But if you look at the other teams in pot 3, this is probably the easiest draw we could have got. We could have played Senegal, we could have played Japan, Morocco, Serbia, Poland. The only other team that matches Iran in terms of an easy draw is probably Tunisia. So I don't think this is any trouble for England whatsoever, and we really should beat Iran quite comfortably. So the second game that England will play will probably be the first, if you like, big World Cup day of the World Cup calendar for England. We'll play on a Friday night against USA. That game will, in Qatari time, will kick off at 10 o'clock. Here, that will mean 7 o'clock. So Qatar are 3 hours ahead of us. So any game that kicks off there will be 3 hours, basically be 3 hours behind here. So the Iran game on a Monday will kick off at 4 o'clock on the Monday afternoon in Qatar, so it'll kick off at 1 o'clock here. So make sure you book off 21st of November off work, because I certainly won't be watching it in the office. But the USA may face a bit more of a stiffer test for England. They've got players like Christian Pulisic, Giovanni Reina from Dortmund, Josh Sargent from Norwich, cracking player him. I'm sure Rob Green won't appreciate this draw because his goal is going to be shown so much in the next 6 or 7 months before we play USA. But again, out of the pot 2 draw, who could we have got who was worse than USA? Could have got Germany, Denmark, Netherlands, Uruguay, Croatia. All difficult challenges for England. They're the teams you expect to play maybe in the last 16 in the quarterfinals. USA, again, is probably the easiest draw along with Mexico in that pot 2. So I don't know why anyone would say that this is a difficult draw. It's not at all. It's possibly the easiest draw England could have got out of these first 2 pots. Where it does get interesting is on Tuesday the 29th of November, 7 o'clock. The pubs are going to be completely packed out in that evening for what would be either a British derby against Wales or Scotland, or a game against Ukraine. I personally really hope it's Ukraine, just because I would love to see, it's never going to happen, but you'd love to be a fly on the wall for Putin if England face Ukraine in a World Cup and none of the Russian public are allowed to watch it because they don't recognise Ukraine as an official state. But international politics aside, Scotland and Wales would both be probably trickier tests, I would say, for England than the previous 2 opponents. England may be qualified by that point, but Wales with Gareth Bale, who can turn it on whenever he wants. He always seems to turn up for Wales. Those 2 goals he scored in the qualifiers against Austria were unreal. The free kick was so good, and it makes me laugh that Real Madrid don't really have another player in their front 3 other than Benzema, Asensio and Vinicius Jr. this year, when Gareth Bale has still obviously got that unbelievable quality. Scotland, they're turning into a real solid team now under Steve Clarke. They've obviously got Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson, who are holding it pretty solid at the back. Scott McTominay, John McGinn in midfield. Lyndon Dykes is a bit of a handful when he's playing up front, so that Scotland could also get through that qualifying path. And I would probably say, if I was to guess, that the next qualifier out of England's group would probably come out of the Ukraine, Scotland and Wales. Iran definitely won't qualify. I just think they'll get battered by England so much. USA might be a bit more of a tricky test, but England should beat them as well. And I think that Wales and Scotland and Ukraine would all have a good shot of beating those teams. USA against Wales and Scotland would be a real even test, I think. You can maybe even see that being a draw. It would be interesting to see if, when England do play the European qualifier on the final day, who's already through. I think England would already be through, having won both the previous games. But if they're playing the likes of Scotland and Scotland needs something to go through the group, that would be a huge game. It would be so funny to knock Scotland out, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. So after England navigate that group, which they should do fairly comfortably, we will then have a 5-day break until we play our last 16 game on Sunday the 4th of December at 10 o'clock Qatari time. That would be 7 o'clock in the UK. And then we would also play our next games at the same time going forward. So we would play Sunday the 4th, then Saturday the 10th, and then the following Wednesday, and then the Sunday then would be the final. So actually, if you're looking at the teams who have a good break between their group stage finishing and then their last 16 tie, England actually have quite a favourable draw in that respect. So we have an extra rest day, which does tend to be quite important in these major tournaments. And if England do win their group, which we would all expect them to, they would play the runner-up of Group A. So that group is Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal and the Netherlands. So you would maybe expect Netherlands to win that group, although they've got a few difficult tests in there. Senegal, not a bad side. Ecuador, a very up-and-coming young team who may be a one to watch out for in 2026. But we play the runner-up from that group. And maybe it would be Senegal. That would be an interesting last 16 tie against Mane. If the Liverpool boys go up against each other, you would expect England to win that again. And then if we did reach the quarter-final and France won their group as well, we would play France. I don't want to predict any further than that because that's when the tests really get tricky. I still fancy England, to be fair, with all our experience now in major tournaments, the semi-final of the World Cup a few years ago, the final of the Euros last year. I think that England would be confident going into that game, and if we were to beat France in the quarter-final, then who knows what could happen. Could be amazing. But I'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching to the end of the video again. I appreciate it loads. If you do like the video, please click the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you fancy turning on the little notification bell so every time I put a video up, you get notified so you can come on and watch it. That would be amazing as well. But we're going to do loads of World Cup videos going forward over the next 6 months. I'm super excited. It feels like the Euros has only just finished, but we're almost on to the path to another one now the groups have been revealed. So thanks very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.